Welcome to PraDa Law Live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jackie Mendez. I'm your host for today's show. Happy Thursday. We have a great show lined up for you guys. Before I introduce our attorneys here at PraDa Law, I would love for you guys to look at the screen, 888-88-LEGAL. That number right there, that number is the number that's going to bring you many solutions. The call is free. The consultation is free. Give us a call. Let's introduce our attorneys today, shall we? First up, we have Frank Cara.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And of course, Javier Rodriguez.
Thanks, Jackie. Hello, all. Pleasure to be here.
And the lovely Jennifer Pratt.
Thank you, Jackie. Happy Thursday to all. Happy to be here with everyone.
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about some labor laws.
Labor law.
Workman's comp.
That's right.
And maybe sprinkle in a little bit of personal injury.
Yeah, if you guys ask me some questions, sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, let's get right into the conversation, but I want you guys to remember that today is the free show. What does that mean? The free show means that we don't get paid unless you get paid, okay? So if you have a claim and it doesn't go through, and you know, it means basically that you won't be penalized. You won't have to pay.
No, absolutely. You know, and it reminds me a little bit about a case that we got in the office yesterday afternoon, where they were asking us, you know, they were hired to do a job. The person didn't like the job, but they had to buy materials for the job. And the person said, I hate the job. And not only don't want your job anymore that you did, but I want my materials back. Well, not in these cases, right, gentlemen? I mean, this is 100% our risk. These cases are free because if we don't collect, you don't owe us anything, not even the costs that are involved. Talk to us about what kind of costs may be involved in, for example, in a workers' compensation case.
Well, we front all the costs. So if we have to depose a doctor, order transcripts, order medical records, file a lawsuit, all of those costs our firm will front 100%. So there's no risk to you. And again, the only way that we recover attorney's fees is if we recover settlement monies for you. So again, there's a no risk solution. If you have a case, if you think you have a case, pick up the phone, make the phone call. If you got hurt at work, call us, whether it was this year, last year, 3 years ago, give us a call, let us analyze your case. You have nothing to lose. And I think it's the same way with wage and hour cases, right?
Pretty much, it's pretty similar. Same thing, we have costs that we have to filing fees, deposition costs, just like you. So yeah, we run with all those costs, and if we recover, we get all that back. So in wage and hours, a little different because the employer is responsible to pay for the attorney's fees. So technically, you don't come out of pocket at all, not even 1% or anything. So, you know, it's very advantageous for anybody out there who may have some questions regarding whether they get paid overtime or time and a half, you know, just give us a call. We'll find out.
Right. So if you guys have any questions regarding any of these topics we have today, please give us a call, 888-88-LEGAL, because that call will be free, and so will your first consultation.
That's right, Jackie. Yes?
I actually had an interesting case that walked in actually today. The situation happened where the gentleman is a construction worker. But what happens, he gets to the job site, he has to park his car, and from there, he has to wait for the company bus, and then the company bus takes him to the work site. So I asked him, how long did this whole process take? And he said it was about 30 minutes each way. And I asked him, were you getting paid? He said no. But here's the thing, the transport time should have been paid.
Really?
Right.
Well, I mean, 30 minutes to and from work, I mean, and you're taking a company bus.
Right.
You're considered working already. You're on the clock.
The minute you're there, you're on the clock.
Right.
Correct.
So let me ask you, Attorney Rodriguez, if this gentleman on this company bus, if the bus is hit by another vehicle or the bus just crashes into something and he's injured, is that a workers' compensation claim?
That's a workers' compensation case. Even when he's sitting there on the sidewalk waiting for the bus to come, even if he's not technically on the clock yet, even though he should have been on the clock, that's a workers' comp case. So basically, he's going to have a workers' comp case, and also, since he got hurt on that bus, you're going to have a third-party case, a case that you're going to be able to handle, right?
Right, a personal injury case.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, so Jennifer would
So
definitely have a case
as
involved.
well,
Yeah.
and you would be involved as well because he's not getting paid for that time where he got injured, also by a while on the job, also by a third party.
Exactly.
So,
The trifecta.
I mean, it is the most perfect example of how all these different areas and why choosing a law firm like PraDa Law is just so beneficial to people who really realize that by us being able to dissect your case and having the ability to just pick up the phone and call Javier Rodriguez of Frank Cara and say, I've I've got this. This sounds like something we've discussed on the show, and before you know it, you may be sitting there with 1, 2, or 3 free cases.
And, you know, getting compensated because
There you go.
you'll probably win that case if you
Well,
were
there's
hurt.
never any guarantees. Never any guarantees, never any
but-
promises, but we certainly have a stake in the game, right, gentlemen? Because we aren't getting paid up front, so we want to try our best to win and recuperate.
Well, here's the thing. We're betting on your case. So if I'm going to plunk down money on your case, I have a pretty good feeling that it's going to go well for the person that I'm representing.
It's a little bit like gambling, right? We're putting our chips in, and we're hoping that we can. I have no idea about gambling. I don't ever gamble. I just know it's chips or something
I
like
wouldn't
that.
call it gambling because gambling you leave it to chance. This is more of an investment where you're looking at facts and you're making an educated investment in your case and your client.
And that's why sometimes cases are turned down. I mean, this is not really what we want to encourage people. We want you to call us and talk to us, but that's why we're going to give you a frank advice, no pun intended. Dun-dun-dun. Okay, we're going to give you some frank advice as to whether or not you have a case, at least in our professional opinion, that doesn't stop you from going elsewhere. And if we do believe that you have a case that we can take on, we're going to take it on. We're going to work it the best we can, Jackie.
Absolutely.
Another example, in that same bus case, the guy was also mislabeled as a 1099 when he should have been a W-2 employee. And, and a lot of employers try to misclassify employees in order to try to get away with having to pay them overtime or certain benefits. But just because you're classified a 1099 or a manager or a supervisor, that doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
I think you explained that once to me because I'm a 1099 when I'm a musician.
Yes.
And so, it would
all
be hard
depends
for...
on the level of control.
Right.
How much control does the employee have? That's why it is important to call an attorney to find out, what are your rights.
Right. Thank you so much, Attorney Hara. Ladies and gentlemen, production is telling me we do have to come up, take a short break. Little quick commercial break, but I do want to remind you guys, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you guys got to call for some solutions. We're going to take a short break, but we'll continue the conversation and with our awesome attorneys here at PraDa Law. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Once again, I'm Jackie Mendez, and this is PraDa Law Live. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera del 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
And welcome back to PraDa Law Live. Once again, I'm Jackie Mendez, and today is Thursday, which means it's the free show. We've been talking some labor laws, we've been talking workman's comp, a little personal injury. We're gonna get right back into that conversation, but I do wanna remind you guys, please give us a call, 888-88-LEGAL. The show's live, the call's free, the consultation will be free, and We don't collect unless you collect.
That's right. It's a free show because, again, we don't get paid unless you get paid. Let's talk about people that are on call. A lot of folks are going back to work right now, and thank God for that, right? Some jobs have this on-call thing. I remember, Attorney Hara, when I was in high school, I worked at Sawgrass Mills Mall. It was my first real job, and it was retail. And sometimes you were on call, which meant that for whatever reason, and there are different reasons. Sometimes in retail, based on your number of sales, you have to have more employees on the floor because I guess for loss prevention, whatever it is, or someone could call out. There were various reasons. But let's say, for example, on Thursday, I'm on call from 3 to 10. And what I would have to do is literally at 2:30, 2 o'clock, whatever, that morning, I'd have to call. And sometimes they say, call back in another few hours to ask, am I coming in today? Those were days, let's be real, I couldn't make plans. I wasn't sure. And don't get me wrong, if I got the answer, no, you don't have to come in, I'd, okay, but then quickly try to make plans or do something. Talking about this bus situation that you mentioned in the first segment, can I on-call people? Talk to me about on-call and how are people compensated for that?
Well, on-call is one of those you have to look into it very carefully to make sure if you qualify.
Gray, sort of.
Because, for example, if you're a professional, let's say a doctor, firefighter, a licensed type person, what you would really be a 1099. You will be exempt from the overtime wages and those things. Now, in the example you presented, where you're working for the Gap or something, retail.
W-2. I was a
right, W-2, and let's say in your example, from 3 to 10, you had to be on call. Theoretically, you were still under the control of your employer because from 3 to 10, you couldn't drink, you couldn't go out. You had to be at a moment's notice. In those situations, the one you describe, there may be actions for, making a claim for the hours that you were on call.
So much so, Attorney Hara, I'm sorry, that I remember sometimes I'd call and they'd say, no, I don't think we need you, and I'd be happy, and then all of a sudden, like let's say around 4 o'clock, sales would all of a sudden increase, and they'd call me and say, you gotta come in. Right. And because I was on call, unless I wanted to lose my job, I had to stop whatever I was doing and head over to the
If you're not free to do what you please, that means the employer is in control. It's like when you learn in law school, the master-servant relationship. I know it sounds terrible, but the employer is your master and you are the servant. Once he's in control and you need to serve him, you're under their control.
And what's the statute of limitation on that? Because obviously, I was in high school like a year ago. So, what's the statute of limitation on that?
It's 2 years.
Oh, yeah. Just barely made it, guys.
Right.
It's like only yesterday.
That's what it feels like, to be honest. Attorney Rodriguez?
No, you're just talking about control, and that's similar in workers' comp. So in the term for workers' comp, it's called course and scope of employment. So basically, if you're doing your job, you're under the workers' comp system, you're entitled to benefits. So I represented years ago a nurse, similar, who was a nurse that was on call. So what does that mean? Some days she works at certain hours, but other times she can be called in and put on call. She was involved in a car accident, going to an appointment. The insurance carrier denied it, saying that she was not working at that time, but we were able to show that she was on call. They compensated for her workers' comp injuries, and we also filed an automobile accident claim, and she got compensated for that as well. So again, to echo what Attorney Frank Hara was saying, the employment relationship and what you're doing at the time of the job is very, very important.
Interesting. Wow. 888-88-LEGAL, ladies and gentlemen. Give us a call. We have some solutions for you if you have a case similar. Calls free, consultations free. Attorney Hara?
Question. I've been seeing on TV lately all these ads about fixing your sidewalk. What's this?
About fixing your sidewalk?
Yeah, because people can trip and fall, and then you're liable.
Wow, yeah.
Your own personal sidewalk from on your property line? Interesting.
I haven't seen those commercials, but I do know that I've had clients that have had, for example, homeowner property type insurance claims, where we realized that the issue extended out beyond the actual vicinity or parameters of the home. And those are really tricky because the sidewalks technically, and in this particular client's case, it was something under the sidewalk that was causing the water damage, and that was the city, the local municipality's issue. So I guess it would depend. First of all, I haven't seen it, so we can definitely talk about it after the show, and if it's something that the viewers should know about, for sure, I want them to know. But I know in general, your home is your actual, up until the grass ends. Typically, typically, unless you have like a huge estate, I guess, that you have your own sidewalk.
Well, kind of like in Coral Gables, how you have those big trees and that nice sidewalk,
right?
And you have grass sidewalk, a little bit more grass, leading into your beautiful drive-in.
I guess like everything else, it just depends.
Yeah.
Like my boilerplate legal answer
Gotta
for
look
you.
into it. Well, we are coming up on a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot more great information coming up.
I want to talk to Attorney Rodriguez a lot more on the next segment, so we can talk about workers' comp, and I want to use your latest trip as an example. We'll talk about that when we get back after commercial break. Stay tuned.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera de 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
Welcome back to PraDa Law Live, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last segment of our show today. Can't believe it. It went by pretty quickly. We've been talking some pretty great stuff, but I do want to remind you guys, give us a call, 888-88-LEGAL. It's the free show. What does it mean? That we don't collect unless you collect. So give us a call, 888-88-LEGAL. Consultation will be free.
And why it's important to take advantage of that free consultation is because every case is going to be different. Before the break, we discussed that we wanted to bring up a recent trip that our lovely Jackie took as part of a gig. Tell us quickly, you don't have to give us specifics, but just quickly, you had to travel for a gig?
Yeah, I went to Turks and Caicos for some very high profile.
First time there?
Second time, actually.
Nice.
Second time. I went for the first time last year with the same family.
Okay.
And they basically hire me as entertainment. I go with my guitarist and we play for their dinner parties, we play on their yacht, we play in their villa, and we become very, we become very friendly, and they love us. They took us to Dubai last year. So it's been a great ride with them, definitely.
Why am I bringing up Jackie's case? As we talked a lot in the last segment about control and dominion, and yet the opinion of the panel is that you unfortunately probably do not have any labor or workers' comp claims, and I'd love to hear from both of you briefly why.
With workers' comp, you have to have 4 or more employees to be covered under the workers' comp policy. It sounds like in Jackie's case, she was there, personal family. Sounding from where they're from and where they've gone and where they've taken her, they probably have plenty of other liability coverage, other umbrella policies. So if God forbid something were to happen to Jackie, she could pursue those policies and insurance claims. You call Miss Jennifer Pratt, and I'm sure she could help you. But as far as workers' comp, it's probably not going to be covered, but there's plenty of coverage, and hopefully nothing will happen.
Well, what about for my Dubai trip then? We did have a huge production coming with us, maybe 10 plus people on that particular trip.
Right.
Would I be covered by workman's comp if I got, if I tripped over a cable or something in the villa?
So assuming the the touring company has workers' comp coverage, absolutely, that would be covered, yeah.
Okay.
What about in the labor context, Attorney Hara?
Well, it sounds to me that she's a perfect example of what a 1099 is. She is a musician, which typically controls their own gigs. So she decides what music is going to be played, when it gets played, how fast it gets played. So she has control over these situations. And I understand she's outside, but I'm sure she entered into a contractual agreement. And then at that point, the contract takes over.
And it probably says you're not liable for anything.
Correct.
They probably put as most tours and most musicians, the venues usually put it on the performers to bring their own insurance and their own riders and their own, situations, so they're covered on their own. Earlier in the break, before the second break, we talked about homes. And I want to bring that back up because even though a lot of people are going back to work, the reality is a lot of people are still working from home. Today, I had a conference call with an attorney, and God bless her, she was amazing. I loved her. She was a great great type of opposing counsel that you want to have. But I could clearly hear two screaming toddlers in the background, and of course she apologized and said those are my twin boys. And after that, my heart melted, and I just thought, wow. First of all, real quick, kudos to all you moms out there, all you parents, period, that have been going through this for the last 6 months, and you're working from home, and you know what I'm talking about. I mean, eventually I didn't hear the kids, so I'm assuming she threw herself in a closet and was hiding. But kudos to you all, because you guys are really, 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 really taking a big grunt of this, like in the sense of having to deal with still keeping your professional duties and being parents.
And homeschooling.
But these ones were little itty babies. You could tell by the crying. But you're right. That's take my hat off to y'all. But in these times, Attorney Rodriguez, people are still working a lot from home. Even today, still working from home. Literally today, this mother attorney. What happens? She's there talking to me. We're talking about cases. She's clearly on the clock.
Right.
What happens if one of her little baby boys leaves a toy? So it's not her fault, it's her little baby boy, and she trips over this toy and smashes her nose, breaks her face. What happens?
That's a workers' comp case. And just like you said, when she jumped into the closet, if she would have hit her head, messed up her back, something would have happened to her, those are all compensable accidents. And in today's day and age, with everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people going back home to work, that's going to become the new normal. And your boss is going to ask you to set up a home office, have filing cabinets at your house, other things that you're going to need if you move things and you hurt your back or your neck or your ankle. All of those will be covered 100% by workers' comp. So it's important that you know that. And with those benefits, again, they got to pay for all of your medical care, no matter how much. And they got to send you checks every week to your house while you're off the clock. So it's important to know that that's a case and give us a call.
That is important to know. Thank you so much.
Similarly, with working from home and wage an hour, since a lot of people are working from home, this is a situation where a lot of times you're probably going to work in excess of 40 hours. So if you're working in excess of 40 hours, you're still entitled to overtime. And the problem with these types of situations working from home is that it's difficult for the employer to really keep track of what's going on. So, working from home, you know how it is. Next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock at night and you didn't realize it. You should be getting paid for all those hours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Attorney Hara. Well, I can't believe we're coming up to the end of the show. It's already over, but we'll be back tomorrow.
We will, but we're not done yet. I still have another question for both of you, and it is in regards to time periods, okay? Time periods are important, and I know we're getting close to this, so how long do I have before I can make a workers' comp claim?
All right, so with workers' compensation, this is very important to listen to. You have 2 years from the date of the accident to file a claim, or 1 year from the last time you got medical treatment. So if you had an accident 10 years ago and you've been getting treatment every year for the last 10 years, even though it happened 10 years ago, you can still file a claim. Call us.
Attorney Hara?
The claims are usually limited to 2 years from the last instance of non-payment or failure to pay. Or if you can establish malice, you can do an extra year and go as far back as 3 years.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we close us out, Jackie. We're done.
Well, Attorney Hara, Attorney Rodriguez, Attorney Pratt, thank you guys so much for all this Great information. Ladies and gentlemen, 888-88-LEGAL. Give us a call. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day.